Yeah.
across the world.
I got another article on South Korea, Vietnam, just built a new liquefied natural gas electric generation plant. Makes a lot of sense for us to cover the earth with solar panels. Okay, well, let's start it. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of our previous town board meeting minutes for May 4th, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martin, second.
I
Second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion?
think there might be a correction on the vote for the town parks new pickup truck.
Yep.
I believe that Councilor Montroy said no to the vote. So that would be,
He did. Yes, yep,
Okay,
Yes.
so
corrected.
that'll be a correction. All in favor of the correction, signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, that's the only thing, John, you got?
Good catch, John.
Okay, very good. Okay, our stray cat agreement with Wanderers Rest. We need to do that, so need a motion for that. We could not find any of them from before. I don't think we've ever done one. And then, because they couldn't find one either. So if everybody's read this over, I'd like to get this approved.
in the last meeting, we invited Kim to come and speak to this meeting, because we had.
You actually asked her to come?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
She showed up this late.
She showed up at the end.
At the end, we asked her to come at 9, so we could at least ask her any questions. I mean, I've seen this contract's different. It's a flat fee now versus a à la carte type. So, but we were gonna just ask a few other questions, but.
Okay, well, let's put it off again. Okay, we got Gene Stankovich, doing business as the grass master, to do our cemeteries for $50 each time. We need approval for that, please.
I'll move that, John.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Montrose. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, we had a little oversight with our fuel tank installation bid. We didn't okay it. Andy took it, looked it over and got it back. We didn't do anything. So I just need the motion to approve the fuel tank installation.
I'm gonna move that.
Vote.
It's not doing us any good sitting on top of the ground.
No motion by Mr. Martin, second. Second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, our MS4 annual report proposal, which Barton LaJudas does every year for us. It's something that we have to be in because of the state and the EDC. We need a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gibbons, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rushkevich. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried.
Can I ask you a question on this?
Yes, sir.
So, last planning board meeting, or I'm sure most planning board meetings, they talk about MS4 on some of these projects like the Dollar General across from Tops. Now, I don't think that specific area is in MS4, is it technically?
We're all in it now.
I thought, okay, I
They
thought it was
changed-
just certain
It used to be, but they changed it about
Okay.
3 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. They
So
changed
all of the town of Sullivan,
all the town,
100%?
so actually, I think most of the counties in it.
Because I think when we did over the highway, when they stopped there a couple of years ago, I feel like there was only
There was only
sections
certain areas, but then they got
that were-
everybody.
Okay, so the whole town's in,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha, thanks.
What was I gonna say along that? Yeah, they changed it a couple years ago. We actually pay $7,500 for regional planning for that, or whatever it is, annually. First couple of years, we skated with the county, and I was able to, because the counties, because we're the only part in the county.
Right.
And, we skated with the county, but they quickly caught on to that. Won't let us get away with it, so. Sorry. No parking in front of Dad's ice cream stand, I think that's all done. There's a bunch of signs out there.
Well, there's a resolution that supports that if they're
Okay,
there.
so we'll support it.
You can pass a resolution.
Somebody put a sign next to Jimmy's driveway,
Is
and
it
on the
official?
other side, there's a bunch of signs coming all the way down through.
Is it an official sign?
It says no parking, they're red and white, so.
That
was close.
Yeah.
But it's also not like on the other side of the driveway, there isn't one there.
So I don't know if we want to sign that more. By the way, they're just driving. They don't pay
Are you
any
sure?
attention.
Are we sure?
They pay zero attention.
Are we sure the county put them up?
I don't know who put them up. I pulled in last night to get ice cream, and there's one right by the driveway, it looks official, no parking. Then we went towards, Tag Road, and I just was noticing out of the corner of my eye, and I slowed down, turned around, no parking coming this way.
They asked the town board for a resolution.
Well, we'll give them support.
Give them after the fact, I guess.
Well, you might want, and there might be some additional sign, I don't know who did it, you might want to find out.
I'll call them.
It's not signed real well.
I'll call the county and ask them, because when I reached out to Brad, he said they wouldn't do it until we had a resolution, so.
Gotcha.
Well,
Yeah, there's the one,
Somebody
in-
did it.
There's one in front of one house, but there isn't one in front of the other house between the,
bus garage and the.
No, there's
and
not one there.
there's not one there, so if there's no sign, they're parked. It's, they're gonna park there with the signs there anyway. At some
Well,
point,
one by
somebody's-
Jimmy's driveway, it's on this side, it's on right next to the driveway, but, so I can see him pulling past it and parking on his yard still, so.
Yeah, and it's a tough pull out of there when there's car parked along that side.
Safety.
Well, it's not enforceable unless there's a resolution.
Okay, well, we'll do it, so. All right, I need a motion for no parking in front of Dad's ice cream stand, well, in the road anyway, so.
I'll move that.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second. Second by Mr. Bershkovich, is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, carried. Okay, park labor, Scott Bacon, $15 an hour, Dan Shirula at $15 an hour, summer help. Motion for that, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bershkovich, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Montroy, is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, carried. Okay, we have, one firefighter application, correct, Dennis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Need a motion for that, please?
I'll move that. John.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second. Second by Mr. Montroy, is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, next, I've got, our auditors, FJ Pompall and Company, has sent us a letter for another audit, our annual audit, for us to be able to get, our grants and that kind of thing, and it's not to exceed $17,850. Beth and I were talking the other day, remember when these things were just $5,000, so they've got a little complicated. So I need a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second. Second by Mr. Gibbons. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay. elections, because everything has been changed around for elections. We had to re-sign our leases for elections, which is just standard. I need a motion to be able to sign that because now our primary will be in August versus June. I believe, well, is there an assembly? I don't think there's an assembly primary. So there
No,
won't be
she's
one.
got the dates on there, you got that?
Well, it says June 28th, but I don't think there is one.
Right,
Because the assembly,
that's what it was scheduled for.
okay. So Tuesday, June 21st for Village of Cass, Hamilton, and Morrisville. Tuesday, June 28th is the primary. I don't think we're having one. Tuesday, August 23rd, additional primary, which there is now. They redrew the congressional districts and the Senate districts. Then Tuesday, November 8th for our general. So it's just the lease agreement with the county. So I need a motion for that.
All moved.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Brushkevich. Is there any discussion?
Jeff Martin will sign on behalf of the town, right? Because you're signing for the county.
I can sign both. I sign
You're
both.
gonna do it? Okay.
All in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay. All right. What else do we have? Andy, you got anything for us?
No.
Okay. Anybody out there have anything for us? Art? Yes.
Oh,
Petition
Art
for
was,
water district.
Art met with me this morning. He's presented a petition consisting of, this is Whitelaw Water District. It's 9 pages of signatures. Art says it's about 69% of the assessed value. I'd like to present this to our assessor, verify those assessment values on here, and then let you know whether it's a valid petition from that point, and then you'll take the next step when you're ready on that.
You were clear with the people. They know that this way is, there will not be a vote on it.
Right.
This is the way that's gonna be. Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything? Sir, you have something for us?
Yes, my family's lived in Billington's Bay now. We're celebrating 100 years of living
Need your
here.
name and address.
My name is Michael Bergen. I live at 594 Pierce Road. Early 2000, we went through quite a bit of dispute with turning Pierce Road over to the town. You insisted upon having 3 rods of property, over 5.5 acres of land was dedicated to the town. It went from the hard surface of Shafter Point Road down the road, and I'm sure you remember this, Mr. Baker. I don't know, with Sonny Setner, it was quite a big deal back then. And you did not accept the road going north to south, you accepted east to west is a 16-foot right-of-way going down through there. It's tight, we've got no room in there. Last winter, there was 2 incidents where people in a bed and breakfast down there are renting the place out. You got cars parked all over the place down in there. The plow couldn't get down in there. And it's a hazard. It's an emergency situation that's being neglected and it needs to be addressed amongst us. To me, I think the biggest failure in life is seeing something and not doing something about it. I have family down there. Whatever the fire department's got to get in there. It's a problem. Now we're going into 4th of July, Labor Day weekend. Everybody on that lake has a bonfire down there. And it's just, it's a free-for-all. Last weekend, they were parked on both sides of that fire lane. There was barely enough room to get the cars down through there. So what are we gonna do about this?
Well, like I said,
Let's put no parking signs right up both sides of the road and we'll tell them you can't park there.
I would think that would solve this problem.
so you can do that, but then we're gonna be putting no parking signs on every road in the town of Sullivan. So, you know, we do have a resolution for no parking in the winter. But at what point do we, where do we draw the line? Yes, it's a 16-foot road. It is narrow. I met yesterday with Mr. Bergen and his sister, and we showed me pictures of last weekend, cars on both sides of the road, and it's definitely a problem for an emergency vehicle or anybody. So, but their main concern is it's a bed and breakfast. So it's not like we can go knock on the door and say, listen, you can't park on the side of the road anymore, because every weekend or however many times a week or month they rent out the B&B, it's a different group of people. So it's, you can't solve it by banging on the door and say, don't park on the side of the road. So that's really the biggest challenge. And, you know, I mean, it's up to you guys as a board if you wanna pass a resolution for no parking on the side of, you know, on that
We go
road.
one side of the road?
You could.
That's
you know,
not gonna solve the
But you gotta
problem.
have enforcement too.
You know,
How about if we go through and make it an official road, like 60 feet wide?
nobody would be.
Oh, we'll just do it through the town board.
Would be
That's what the
encouraging
neighbors
people.
want.
Yeah. Well, that's
Right?
the other thing, is widen the road, you know, so, so I don't know. I
So
mean,
there's
like I
no
said,
easy answer here.
No, I can't make Mr. Bergen wanted me to get up, put no parking signs up, I said, well, it's not that easy, and it's really not a highway issue, it's a legal issue. The highway issue is 16 feet wide, and there's not room for parking on the side of the road. So-
Has anyone talked to the landowner that's doing the B&B and said, hey, you need more parking, is there any option for them?
Well,
to put
their
additional
entire
parking?
back lot is filled with trailers, campers, snowmobile trailers, all this debris they have on it. They're all legally registered, so they can park it there. So that's the other side of the coin. The town's allowing all this stuff to be parked on that property. It's an eyesore. It looks just horrible. And, their whole backyard, they got, I don't know how many, 3 or 4, 5, depends on the time of year. That lot gets packed full of, apparatus back there.
And I've stayed at these type of places, usually in the instructions, they tell you where to park. So I would have thought we'd work with the owner and say, hey, you're clogging up our road, please provide parking as part of your process. Has anyone had that discussion with the owner?
You know, I called and spoke to town about it, and, you know, I don't think it's our responsibility to be doing that.
Okay, but no one has
It's a
talked to
business.
the owner.
I'm sure they're aware of this. They know, we don't like it. They're
I
parking.
vaguely remember this, that's like when Sonny was alive, so I don't remember exactly what the conversations were, and it was a problem one way, not the other way, I can't remember all the details, I apologize.
You know, like I said, Mr. Bergen's sister, I said, I think it's Christine, I said, you know, I go, well, call the sheriffs. I mean, if they are obstructing the road, you don't need a no parking sign, have them towed. I mean, you know, it is that simple, but they don't want to get involved with town authorities and
Right.
get mad at them and have a repercussion or whatever, so, you know, because that's what I do in the wintertime, if something's obstructing the road, I call the sheriffs. It's, you know, problem solved. But again, we might solve the problem today, and tomorrow there's a new tenant in there, we got the problem all over again. So I think really that's the issue at hand is there's so many different tenants, and it's a revolving door, and it's like a broken record, you're really not gonna fix it, easily.
No parking on one side of the road won't fix it at all. Won't
We need
alleviate
no parking on both sides of that road going down. We only have 16 feet. If your family was involved in a fire and that truck was delayed for 1 minute, isn't that 1 minute too long? It's only 16 foot. A legal road is 3 rods.
I mean, easily, you know, if you guys wanna do a resolution for that road, for no parking on both sides, I mean, it definitely easily can be done. You know, will it be enforced, and will people pay attention to it?
The enforcement's gotta be
You
the
know,
question.
and that's the thing.
Well, it gives the police something to go by.
I have no problem
I-
with doing it.
What'd you say, guys?
How long's it been in bed and breakfast?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, is this
They might-
new?
they
I
might-
mean,
Yeah, it's a relatively new.
it's relatively new.
Within a year.
Oh, the bed and breakfast is
Yeah.
within a year.
But they're popping up everywhere, you know.
No, I know, but I would think that they would provide parking.
Yeah, I wonder if they're paying.
And there is plenty of parking across the street.
Get
There's
that address.
a lot, but right now there's 2 huge travel trailers backed in there that I think are snowmobile trailers, so there's not, and you know, why they're having 10 cars down there, they must be having parties or, I don't know, but there's a lot of cars for a breakfast, so I don't know. These people are just doing weekend partying at the house on the lake and, you know, I don't know, so.
Sounds like we should follow up with the owner first,
That's right.
instead of just posting
Is
things.
this the problem with this, problem that we had?
No, it was a total different problem before with Pierce Road. That's what you're referring to.
I did speak to Larry yesterday or the day before on it, and he said, well, if they're blocking the road, you can send the owner a letter and let them know.
I talked to Larry too.
Yeah, it's really, no parking or not, if they're obstructing the road, they're
Well, emergency vehicles have gotta be able to get down through there, I mean, ambulance or a fire truck, one or the other.
Well, we run into it with plowing all the time on these narrow roads, so it's definitely an issue. I think reaching out to the owner would be definitely a start in the right direction.
You know, does the owner live there full-time or not?
No,
That doesn't live there at all, this is investment
Trouble in
property?
investment
It's an
property.
investment property. We had another one of those at the planning board. That ultimately, I don't know if it's worked out or not, but neighbors got really into it at the meeting because they complained with the parties and there wasn't some access. So.
We had people parking in my sister's backyard on her property. They're all drunk, carrying on, and she's down there alone, and I gotta go down there and deal with it, you know? And it's just, it's not right.
So that would be a trespass, and that's a legitimate call to the sheriff. But the town really can't enforce private trespass instances. We don't have a town police force. Larry really, that's really not, and
Right.
certainly Andy can't do that as well.
I understand
But
that.
nobody would like anybody else parking.
Oh, no, of course
No,
not,
that's
yeah.
not-
My main concern is emergency services, and it's not being provided.
I think we need to reach the owner first and see what his plan is.
I mean, if they're obstructing the road, period, it can be enforced.
Yeah.
You know, bottom line is, it can be enforced if they're obstructing the road. And, you know, for emergency vehicles, and you can barely get through there, a pickup truck, it's enforceable, that part is enforceable. How do we correct it when it keep happening every weekend when there's a new tenant, or, you know, so that's the issue, and I think reaching out to the owner would probably be a start in the right direction.
Chief, what do you do when one of your big trucks is trying to get down the road or something in your way? Do you guys just go?
It really depends on the call.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a fire and somebody's in there, that just became a plow.
That's what I wanted to know.
Because
No, I don't like that. Not unless you're gonna put a snowplow blade in.
if it comes in and there's somebody trapped in that house, a fire doubles in size every minute. We are not gonna wait for somebody to come tow. We are gonna push that vehicle.
So what I'm suggesting, I'm not suggesting you do that, I'm suggesting, would you be
I understand,
amenable?
but
Whose territory is that? Is that?
that's Bridgeport's.
Would Bridgeport chief talk to the owner and say, this could happen if we
Well,
encounter this
I
vehicle?
think we had Larry send him a letter right today.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the first thing.
Yeah, the address,
They-
525,
Yeah.
Pierce.
525.
555.
And then, if that doesn't work, I can send a letter in my letterhead, you know, and then.
Okay.
Then I have the chief talk about what happens.
Right.
I feel like, and bring the truck with you when you go dark.
Yeah.
Saturday at 9.
But I mean, you know, these BMVs they have on these sites, I mean, there are specific instructions.
Yeah, who's it listed through?
I have no idea, I don't know.
I haven't looked it up yet. I was gonna-
Yeah, because a couple of the main ones have very strict rules now, because they're hearing all the complaints throughout all these communities in New York State. And I've been teaching seminars on short-term rentals and the regulations that towns can adopt. But this thing is really not in our wheelhouse, it's more in the company that lets them post on their service. People can file complaints with that service about that property, and they'll call the owner and say, if you don't fix this, we're gonna pull your listing.
Right.
We've seen that happen before too. So you can hit them from different pressure points.
I think by communicating with the property owner is just gonna be putting a Band-Aid on this issue. It needs to be properly signed so that when the police come down there at 2:00 in the morning, they have a leg to stand on. Right now, there's no rules. Nobody understands the rules. There's people coming and going. There's a lot of new houses down in there, and
Is it only, the, bed and breakfast that's causing all the problems?
no, there's
You got-
other people down in there doing it, you know, especially on major holidays. You know, like I said, my family's lived there for over 100 years, and in the last 2 or 3 years, it's just been escalating. And years ago, people parked on their own property. I remember once when I was growing up, my father almost put me through the wall because I didn't park properly. He goes, you respect that and you do it right. And people today just don't seem to care. And if there's not a sign there, they're gonna park wherever they want.
Is there any way to do a blanket resolution? I know we do it in the wintertime when we post, every entrance to the town of Sullivan has a no parking sign for, you know, those specific dates, but I don't know how we would target narrow roads. The road is, you know, under 3 rods or whatever it might be. Is there a way we can blanket a no parking ordinance in the town for these narrow roads? Because it really is a problem. I mean, on our,
I can look at that and see.
I chase people, especially at the beginning of the winter. All the guys have tags in the trucks. We start out by tagging them, then we plow them in, and then I call the sheriffs. So,
And the tricky part about that might be, because the sheriff will have to enforce it. You'll have to supply the sheriff a copy of any new ordinance we create, but I'll have to take a look and see what we would do for something like, I don't have any towns that do it that way. You know, you have the sign at the edge of the town that says zoning enforced.
yes.
Things like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're thinking about, is a sign that says, you know, parking. Otherwise, you're gonna put signs all over the town.
Right.
And
even with the signs
and
all
on that subject, in the winter, you know, wintertime or whatever it may be,
Right.
can I directly call a tow truck, or do I have to go through the authority first? Because originally, when we didn't have this ordinance on the signs, I called the tow truck and they were really hesitant to come out without the sheriff being present, so.
That's because people get crazy, that's why.
Yeah.
But you got the authority, you're the highway
Yeah.
superintendent, it's
Yeah.
obstructing that highway,
I don't think-
you have the authority to have anything.
Yeah, I don't think you need to have the sheriff.
No.
I mean, that's for safety.
Well, that's what the tow
Right,
truck
right.
drivers, cause you
Yeah.
get some pretty, everybody's crazy people out there.
Did you say you've done some towing, or?
I've told for the town of Manlius and the highway superintendent's done, actually it's for the village.
So who gets the
And they
bill?
made the call.
I
Yeah,
would-
they didn't
know.
Do you have a company that does the towing? Because in that situation, who would get the bill if Andy just calls a tow truck? And are they gonna try to bill Andy or does it have to be?
You don't get,
someone
usually you don't get
besides?
your car back unless you pay the towing bill.
Yeah, unless I'm paying.
Leverage.
Yeah.
And maybe I should go visit a towing company and get somebody that would be, you know, that knows if I call, just have a visit with them and, you know, again.
You're only gonna have to have one tow, that's gonna be.
That's what I mean,
that'll
if
be
you,
it, so.
if your sister reaches out to me this weekend, again, 24/7, my phone's on, and you say the road's being obstructed, and we've had this conversation, I guess I'll make the call. If they're truly obstructing the road, I'll call the tow truck and have them yanked out of there, as long as I can legally do it. That's why I said, that's why I wanted you to come, because these are legal questions that, you know, I can answer to you on the spot, so.
So if we call the police, what are they gonna do?
Don't call the police. If you call me, the road's being obstructed, I come out, I see the road's being obstructed, as long as I can legally call the towing service and tell them to get the hell out of the road, because they're obstructing the highway, that's all we need to do.
But every weekend, this is gonna continue to happen, that's the problem.
I know at the school we do, we would have to have signs up.
Cars going up and down. How
I
do
think
you
you have to have
affect
signs
that?
up to say you can tow, I mean, there's no parking zone, so you can't tow, or.
Well, it's like Andy's suggesting that we look into an ordinance that says with a particular road or roads in the town, you're not allowed to park unless there's a sign that says you can park, maybe you do it the reverse way. No parking unless allowed by
That's not
by ordinance. Now, in the villages, every street's got a law, where you can park, where you can't park, all that stuff, and it's all local laws, and we're constantly drafting local laws about where you can park and can't park.
I can give you a list of the roads very easily. I mean,
How
that's
many,
not a
how
problem
many do you
either,
think?
That'd be good, yeah.
you know,
How many do you think you got?
a lot. Pretty much north of 31. So all those little, you know,
Oh, yeah.
President's Row, I mean, you got, or we could just target, Nichols Point, Pindle, all those roads down there, Pierce, Shorelawn, Lake Shoreview Drive, Woods Road, those are all very, very narrow roads, and one car we can barely get by, let alone plow, you know, if we're going out picking up brush and stuff.
If you post all those roads, you get people asking about it or coming in, some people won't want their road posted. So, you know, you're gonna have to get signs ordered and put up in place, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just another factor.
I think we do it on a case by case basis.
You can.
play.
You could start with one road and see what happens.
Huh?
Case by case.
case by case, yeah.
With what he's saying, it's becoming more prevalent everywhere. It's not just that one B and B, it's all the roads that we're having more and more of these problems with. So, it sounds like we wanna deal with this and, you know,
Case by case.
on a case by case, but we can't just say it's this one little part of a
Well,
road.
that's what my point is, you gotta be prepared for that,
Yeah.
so, you know.
But you got three options, you got three initial things you can do, Larry. I can do a letter to the same people if it continues, and then if you want the fire department, the chief and the fire department will go down and pay a visit to them. The problem is, where is this owner live, where are they from?
I have no idea. I don't know.
You can talk to those people that are leasing it for the weekend and renting it for the weekend, you solved it for those people.
Jill, can
Hopefully.
you find out?
Somebody's gotta get a hold of that owner.
55.
No, I can find out. Sure. I'll check with Tanya.
Good.
Sure.
Thank you.
Or just do a
I can talk to him.
proposal to post both sides of the road and have a public hearing on it. You put it in the paper, you're done.
Oh, you don't wanna do that.
You've had good success with your petition,
Yeah.
please don't ask us to do that.
Or you can just take it as eminent domain and make it a legal road of 3 rods and have 66 feet going all the way down through there. And
How much of the front yards would that take?
oh, it's gonna be into their driveway, it's gonna be into their garages. It's tight.
That's never, it's never.
How about if we made it just a little wider?
We could make a lot of roads wider, but you're gonna upset a lot of people.
Well, it's gotta be one way or the other. Either we gotta make the road wider, or there's gotta be no parking signs, because emergency services, that's the bottom line. And as he said, if you're at the end of the road, your house is on fire, your kid's trapped, or somebody's trapped, you're in trouble, and you can't wait for a bunch of people to move their cars. So that's the ultimatum. It's either gotta be no parking, one side, both sides, or the road's gotta go to, be wide.
And then you got the cost, so.
And then you got the cost.
How many property owners are involved in that?
I don't know, how many people?
There's roughly, I believe, 12 houses on that street, on that section.
It's tight, the road's tight, the houses are tight.
I wouldn't mind sending letters to all houses and having them talk to us.
I would
That's
either.
the ultimatum. We gotta have parking, no parking, or we got a wider road, guys, what do you wanna do here?
Well, we can start with this little section and see how we carry this throughout the district, because it's gonna need to go.
I like that idea. Send them all there.
Send them all out,
From
you
codes?
wanna have a special
From
meeting,
codes?
Yeah.
We all right, yeah.
So you're gonna do a letter?
And invite all the neighbors in, or actually, we can go down there and meet them.
Yeah, do that,
That'd be the best way.
and do that.
What do you shake your head no for?
Because this is gonna get ugly, I can tell you right now.
Well, it's gotta be one way or the other.
Yep,
You
and I
can't
think
block
that's-
the road for emergency services,
Absolutely.
that's the bottom line.
Yep. All right, well, thank you for your time today, everybody.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have your number, I'll be in touch.
Have a good day.
Yes, sir, Mark.
On another topic, everybody who signed our petition on Clark Road said that they had a problem with no broadband access. And a few on White Log Road, near Clark Road, same thing, just to let you know that there are people out there.
Well, we're working on that through the county. We got, that project, that's coming online, that's gonna come through the northern part of the county, loop in the southern part of the county. So, as I said before, Spectrum will have a competitor when they come through, and it's to give rural broadband so that people can access that.
Thank you.
On a couple other notes, here is the Resilient New York Flood Mitigation Initiative for Chittenango Creek. For Onondaga and Madison counties, the mayor and I were on a meeting the other day, a Zoom meeting, which they got kind of snotty. They had one back in November and said that must be we didn't care, but there was nobody from Madison County on the call, so I don't think they involved anybody from Madison County. This thing involves raising the Route 31 bridge, taking the 2 columns out of the center of it, raising the new bridge on Tuscarora Road and widening it, building flood benches, all kinds of crazy things. About $250 million worth of improvements to Chittenango Creek between Casanova and the lake. they're not doing that just because, they wanna take care of the flooding on Chittenango Creek. They're doing it because the solar panels, the 1,700 acres of solar panels, they're not fooling me, and that's what this is all about. It's the DEC, Office of General Services, through Rambo, Highland, and Gomez and Sullivan Engineers. Flood benching was millions and millions of dollars. The mayor says that there's issues with the canal crossing, getting people to clean that out. The canal doesn't want the DEC in there, DEC doesn't talk to the canal. So her and I are gonna work on a joint letter to send back to these folks here on this engineering report. I don't know how far we're gonna get, but as I said again, it's about $250 million. One of the proposals was to buy $173 million worth of real estate, as they did in the city of Oneida, and take it off the tax rolls. I mean, that's 1/3 of our assessed value. I mean, that's totally idiotic. So, you know, it's just, they didn't really want to talk to us on the Zoom call, and it was kind of a circus. So we're gonna send that letter into them, and I'll let you know what it is.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The old bridge that we have off of Bridgeport Kirkville Road, would that be part of this mitigation?
They did have that in there, yeah.
To remove
To
it?
remove it.
I was gonna say, if they're taking pillars out
Yes.
at 31, it looks like they would want to
Yep.
have that removed.
Yep. Andy, there's a lot of stuff in there. I'll send you over my notes. You'll have to look up in there. But there's a bunch of things in there with culverts and, you know, we do the best we can with cleaning out the obstructions, but we only go to the bridge. We don't go all the way up to the village. You know, we can appropriate some more money, but soil and water can only do so much. So, but that's kind of crazy. And Mr. Burt can zoom in on this because he heard me last week about this. The New York State Climate Action Draft Scoping Plan. If you have not read it, people need to get on to their computers and read this crazy document. It's insane. It's been approved by the Senate and the Assembly, and the governor is for this. This thing changes rural life in upstate New York at the expense of people up here for New York City. Today, in the New York Post, John Howard, I know him, he was part of the Cuomo administration. Now he's the head of the Public Service Commission, and he said this thing is inaccurate, it's crazy, and the Assembly and Senate and the governor's office did it in the dark of night and not telling anybody what was going on. So people, you need to pay attention to that. Comments are due by June 10th. I urge you to put in your comments. Here are just some of the things that are in this. They want a carbon neutral economy mandating at least 85% reduction in emissions below 1990 levels, a 40% reduction in emissions by 2030, 100% zero emissions for electricity by 2040, 70% renewable electricity by 2030. Now, this ties into the solar panel deal. We've got a proposal that has come to us, nothing official, but we've been sent between us and Lennox, town of Lennox, a 480-acre solar panel farm. That's 48 megawatts. We've already got problems with runoff and water, as everybody's heard me talk about before. What's going to happen when this thing goes in? It's over on New Boston Road. It's on the old Divine Farm, and they would cite this through the state citing commission, so we'd have very little say. I'm trying to work my way through that and see how we can try to block that down.
There is a lawsuit pending
Yep.
by other interested parties in New York State, but it already got dismissed at the lower court level, so it's up on appeal. And then I just read that the next set of legal papers got pushed out to at the end of June, so there was an extension. So that's going to be in Albany at their appellate division court next.
Is there
One
a
of the
way
cases home rule.
to make it that electricity stays here? That it lowers our electric bills? If they're gonna do this, and jam it down our throat, can't we make like a local resolution, so much of that power has to stay here and drop our bills?
Some of it does, but the problem is they're handing out so many billions of dollars of your money, and 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So it's crazy. They want the advanced clean truck regulations. The final on that was in December. Have you been notified of anything about that? Another thing they'll pop on everybody. They've had public hearings this month. We've asked them at the county we did a resolution to keep the public hearings open until the end of the year. There was nobody locally from the public health department or public health departments throughout the state involved. And Eric Feist, our public health department director, on his state call the other day was sounding the alarm. So more and more people are getting involved in becoming alarmed of what's going on. They want to limit your vehicle traffic miles traveled, enhanced and expansion of transit and vehicle miles traveled. They want that reduced. They're going to try to go to a mileage tax versus your gas tax. Higher methane mitigation in agriculture and waste. So we've already got an issue with that going on. As you heard me say before, the Northeast has got plentiful water, and now we want to cover it up with solar panels. In New York City, I don't think they've done it throughout the state, but it's coming through codes. Larry said it was coming. That if you have a natural gas stove in any building in New York City and you take it out today, you have to replace it with an electric one. You can't replace it with a gas stove. And that's coming throughout the state. And that will be with furnaces, anything that's gas powered like that. It doesn't say that they're targeting wood burning, but they say that they haven't targeted wood burning yet. So if they're saying that, they're thinking it. So that'll be a problem. The school buses, 100% bus ZEV sales by 2030. That's going to be an issue. And in this article from the Post, it talks about the state handing out hundreds of billions of dollars to school districts for electric school buses. Now, how cute is that going to be when the battery goes bad halfway through the run?
Well, the cost of the buses went from $100,000 to $400,000 down.
Yeah.
So that in some of the municipal buses, like central buses that are electric, there's been 3 around the country so far that just burst into flames.
Right.
I've seen an Audi on a video on YouTube that the whole back seat was blown off the car because the battery blew up. Luckily, there was nobody in the back seat of the car.
We had our association meeting yesterday on Taylor's.
Yeah.
Clinton Tractor brought a rep from Green Machine, the electric lawnmower.
Lawnmower, yeah.
So they're like the zero turn Ferris. So
Yep.
they had one that was a sit down zero turn and one that you stand on.
20 grand.
23,000 for the one you stand on, 25,000 for the one you sit on. That's more than double the price
Yeah.
of a zero turn lawnmower.
Yep. These people making these policies don't understand outside of the city how life is lived out here. They want 100% waste diversion methane and capture from landfills, mitigation of animal feeding and manure in soils, 83% of natural gas use they want electrified. It's just insane what they're thinking. So please, I know it's a lot of reading and people are busy, but you need to read this thing. Just read the overview and you'll get the gist of what's in this thing, and send in your comments by June 10th to the Climate Action Council, and hopefully they'll extend, with John Howard getting on the bandwagon, hopefully they'll extend the comment period to the end of December, and we'll be able to do something about it. But it's a bad deal.
Is Madison County or the townships, are they sending in a rejection?
We did a resolution here
Okay.
that asked that the public comment period stay open until the end of the year. So it'll give people time to read it and understand what's in it. But as more and more people read it, they're gonna understand it. It's just not good.
I see there's an article the other day on this subject that MIT has some new device they're gonna use that's based on cat litter to absorb methane gas.
Nothing again.
Yeah, so, it's in a development stage right now, I'm just trying to
Well, we're already,
figure out how they're
you know,
gonna
we're
do
in
it.
the throes of looking at the landfill, doing a study up there, and we captured methane gas and put a motor in.
With a
and
filter,
generated electricity and everything. Well, the gas goes down over time.
yeah.
And now we're looking at downsizing the motor, the gas isn't as clean as it was, our vendors wants to pull out because it's not working the way that it should. And then they're saying that they wanna just flare the gas off. Well, 10 years ago, we had to have this to capture the gas, now they just wanna flare the gas off. Landfills are gonna be they're an expensive proposition now, and they're gonna get even more expensive. And sewer plants are another thing that, as the DEC and the state comes out with more regulations, as these sewer plants are already having to change their plans around because the regulations have changed because of phosphorus the past 5 years. Now they're gonna go after methane and anything like that. So,
Interesting.
Yep.
You know, listening about the school buses, what their average travel span is, 86 miles.
what's one route run over there? Probably 86 miles?
That's about the best we can do. So one charge is 86 miles. So we can't transport half.
But how much electricity is gonna take this charge? How many buses, what are there, 50 buses over there a day?
Yeah.
What?
So they've gotta be fully charged by the nighttime. And as Larry says, a class 1 charger uses it takes like 10 hours to charge your car. And it uses like what your dryer uses for 10 hours every day. And a class 2 charger is enough to run 2 households, but you'll have to have class 3 chargers. You charge in a half an hour, but it uses enough to charge 20 houses.
Won't be done on field trips either.
So
I
crazy.
don't know if this is true or not. I read something on automobiles, if you purchase an electric vehicle, now they're trying to add a tax or a registration fee to make up for the lost gas tax. So,
That's how they're gonna do it. But they want to limit your miles traveled. They want to start cutting down on the carbon emissions by your miles traveled. And that all ties into the gas price and everything else, I'm sure. But this needs to be a common sense approach where this thing gets phased in over time, and there'll be different technology. There's fusion coming online. There's hydrogen coming online. The answer isn't cover your marginal or good farmland with solar panels out of desperation because you want to push your agenda. That's not a good thing. And as much as I'm sure there was guys with horses that were mad because the cars came in, and it's just an evolution of the way things work.
you can't force it though.
No, you can't force it, and they're trying to force it, so you can't do that. Okay, that's enough on that. So anybody else have anything? Yes, Dennis. You want an electric fire truck? I want to see how that works.
No, I do not want an electric fire truck. I want to spend some money. Each year, I try to do one big purchase. Last year, I bought 2 battery-powered fans. And this year, I want to buy a battery-powered Amcus tool. It runs with a DeWalt battery that we already have DeWalt in the fleet. It's Amcus, we're already familiar with it. And it saves me money in the long run because every year it gets serviced. This is $300 less to service than one of the fluid ones that we're gonna phase out. It's, what did I say, 1983. The deal though is the initial cost is still less than a fluid one. It's $13,880, but that's less because the fluid ones are like 20. So I need permission from you to do this for my one big purchase this year out of the budget, out of my budget.
With $13,000, you gotta have 3 bids, 3 vendors.
Right.
How do I do 3 bids when,
They're sole source.
yeah, it's done in area? And there's only one Amcus dealer in this area. How,
They're not on a state contract or a cooperative bid.
no, it's all, you're assigned an area and here you go. Because we can go with the other vendors and get bids like for a Homatro, but it doesn't run on this same battery that we've already got that we use for lights and fans and stuff.
Okay, so this is something that will incorporate into the equipment that you already have.
Yes, sir. 'Cause-
So how do we do that?
That's probably okay, so it's akin to the sole source in terms of the needs of the department, in order to save money overall with what they already have. I mean, I would just at least double check again and make sure nobody else is out there that can accommodate that need, and put that in a memo
Okay.
that the company, what this is.
And get it, make sure you document it.
Yeah, document
And
it.
it sounds like it's sole source, you can go ahead with
Yeah,
it.
because the other ones, all the other manufacturers, Amicus went with DeWalt to make their battery. They built their tool around the battery, where all the other ones, it's a proprietary battery. So you gotta get their batteries, you gotta get a special charger, and it's a whole different tool, so you gotta have somebody else to come in and maintain it. With this,
It's almost like a sole source.
Yeah.
with
Just
this-
make sure you get your documentation first, so we all see
Okay.
it, so we got you covered. So,
Okay,
all right,
and then, who do I give that to before the next meeting, so?
give
it's
it to
in
me and I'll make sure everybody has it.
Okay.
Get it to Dawn.
your- Done.
Yep, all right?
All right,
Okay, good
we'll have
enough.
that ready to go next
All
month.
right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, does anybody else have anything? Okay, need a motion to go into executive session?
Second?
Motion by Mr. Gibbons, second by Mr. Martin, is there any discussion? All
So,
in favor,
advice of counsel.
signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed,